Hey guys, it's Will here, welcome back to the channel. Now, was originally planning to have a video today talking about 5 ways to make you a better painter, sort of tips for painting, but GW dropped an amazing announcement yesterday, so I decided I would talk about that instead. And this is going to be the first of, I think, 3 videos I'm going to do over the next couple of days, talking about the new edition of Warhammer 40,000. That's right, Games Workshop's biggest selling flagship game is getting a 9th edition. Now, from what they've said so far, it looks to be more of a polishing and an evolution of the game, rather than the complete rewrite and revolution that we had between 7th and 8th, which I think is a good thing, because 7th is, broadly speaking, a good game. It's probably the best edition we've had, but there are definitely some issues that, 8th, broadly a good game, needs just a bit of polishing really, a few little tweaks here and there, and so that seems to be what they're doing, to try and fix a few problems. Now, I'm not going to talk about the rules changes too much, they're going to do a separate video on that at a later date, but yeah, suffice to say that your old codex is still very much valid, so they're not going to be doing a whole batch of indexes again like they did between at the start of 8th. It's an evolution of the game, much as they did in previous editions between like 6th and 7th, or between 3rd and 4th. So yeah, that's all good. And it's a big step forward in the lore, though, and it seems to be around the return of the Silent King to the galaxy, and touching on the Silent King and the Psychic Awakening, all your Psychic Awakening books are also going to be valid, and the Psychic Awakening was very much, they're saying, written with this edition in mind, so don't worry if you've just shelled out 30, 40, 50, 60 pounds on Psychic Awakening stuff, or even 150 pounds on it. It's all still totally relevant, and I don't think it's going to be going away anytime soon. Now, the timing of this is interesting, because in some ways, it's been 3 years since the last edition. They run editions anything from 2 to 4 years at the moment, so it is due. And I feel like it's, in terms of the game, it's a good time. The edition has had all its codexes. Space Marines and Chaos have had 2 codexes. They've kind of reached the logical point to move on to the next step. And yeah, I feel like there's some very powerful stuff in there that needs a bit of a tweak, just try and make it a better edition. So, game-wise, it's a good time, but it's interesting that they should announce this while most of the world is still on some form of lockdown. So particularly as a British company, we are very, very much still under lockdown type conditions here. Things eased slightly a couple of weeks ago, but the vast majority of people are still either working from home or not working. The schools are still shut, and those that are considering opening are doing so in a very restricted way. Games Workshop has no stores open here, although the web store is open, and I would imagine, if they're even talking about this, they have restarted some level of manufacture. Now, it may be that actually a lot of the initial releases for this have already been produced and they're already sitting in the warehouse, but it's interesting with this pandemic. I'm looking at what they're saying. They're going to apparently be running previews of this in the on their website and on their Warhammer community pages throughout June, which is leading me to think July as when they're targeting releasing of this. But obviously they've not said anything, and I think that's very deliberate, because they're trying to not give a date just in case things change. If cases of COVID-19 in the UK start to go up, then they might have to push the release date back, because the plans for coming out of lockdown get pushed back a bit, and it is all very much dependent on at this stage on how things progress. So yeah, I'm hoping that they're not just going to rush it through and release it while we're still on quite a heavy lockdown, because it's going to be like, great, we've got a new game to play and I can't go anywhere and play it. because at the moment you're not allowed to go to anyone's house, all the gaming venues are shut, so unless you've got someone you live with who plays, or you can play via the internet, which is, I don't know, it doesn't really have the same experience to it as playing it properly face to face. You know, it's not really a good time to play 40k. I haven't had a game since March. I think I may have had a game, but not really a significant amount of games since February, so yeah, it's kind of sucking a bit. But let's hope that, you know, they time it right, we're coming out of lockdown and we have an exciting new addition to play straight off the bat coming out of lockdown, and that will certainly give GW and the independent stores as well a nice little sales boost. You know, everybody who has cleared their backlogs, they may not have brought as much, although certainly from what I'm hearing, 40k Gaming is, I've heard they're doing all right in terms of sales, but you know, I'm sure the small independent stores could definitely use a sales boost, and a new edition is going to do just that. So, you know, from a financial standpoint, this might actually be a very smart move if they can get the timing right. Alternatively, if they release it while we're still too heavily locked down, then we may all just be like, what's the point? I don't need to buy it because I can't even play it, and it'll all be very sad and disappointing. But we shall see. Now, those are sort of the things we definitely know. Oh, and one other thing that is really cool with this, they're saying when they do the next codex cycle, the codexes will come with a code to download the digital copy. So this has always been a bit frustrating, that if you want to have the digital codex and the codex, you have to, in paper copy, you have to buy it twice, one for the paper, one for the digital. Now, from what I'm understanding, you can buy the digital on its own, or you can buy the paper one, and that has a code that lets you download the digital one, which is great because that might actually motivate me to actually use digital codexes, because I just like having a book, but sometimes it is nice to have it on your phone, so you can just look it up as and when, so that's good, all for that. Now, final thing, new edition always means a new box set, and although they haven't said anything, they've hinted at it already, and there's been a lot of leaks going out there. You know, get on to Google or any of the sort of Facebook groups and rumour sites, and you'll see it. It looks like it's going to be Ultramarines, because duh, Ultramarines, and Necrons, which is really exciting because I haven't used my Necrons really at all this edition. I think I had 3 games of them this edition. They came out at a time when releases were just coming thick and fast. I was doing other things, so although I bought the codex and I bought some new models, barely used them, and from what I've seen, the leaked potential contents of the box has some great models in, and if Necrons are going to be kind of central to the story with the return of the Silent King and getting a whole load of new models, hopefully that's going to come with some fun, exciting and potentially powerful rules, and I'm actually going to have some motivation to paint and play with my Necrons, which will be cool and add a bit of variety to my games, because, you know, 8th was starting to just feel that little bit stale and a little bit samey. But yeah, I'm not going to rattle on too much at this point, but I am hoping to put out over the next couple of days another 2 videos talking more about the new models, because they've already shown us some new intercessors and some new Necron warriors, and that's close combat intercessors with frickin' chainswords, so that's cool. Also want to talk a little bit about the rumoured changes to the rules, the implied changes. But anyway, that's all for now, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!